Philippe, welcome to Scotland, or rather welcome back to Scotland, because I know you were last in Edinburgh 15 years ago or so, different times. And in particular, welcome to the Asia Scotland Institute as our guest here. We're very grateful to you for coming all the way from Washington. And as you know, our mission is to educate and inspire tomorrow's leaders in Scotland and to enable them to re-engage with Asia again. You've obviously arrived at a very interesting moment. On the one hand, last week, Theresa May, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, triggered the process to exit from the European Union. But on the other hand, more importantly really, this coming week, later this week, President Trump is going to meet with the President of China to talk about their relationships. And I wonder if you could start by giving us a feel for what you think is going to happen and your view of US-China relationships at the moment.
Thank you, Roddy. Delighted to be here. I think this meeting at Mar-a-Lago in Florida is very important because you remember during the Obama years,
yes.
We talked about the pivot
Indeed.
or the rebalancing towards Asia. Mm-hmm. So after Donald Trump was elected, everything was sort of mysterious of what he wanted to do with Asia.
Yeah.
And he sent all kinds of signals, in fact, to Europe and to Asia as well, about Americans' involvement.
Mm.
Now, obviously, he has met the Prime Minister of Japan. He's met, a number of European leaders. But with China, usually it doesn't take place so early in the presidency.
No.
This time, it's happening less than 100 days after the new president is elected. And you also recall that he spoke to the leader of Taiwan
yes.
after his election, which created a bit of a turmoil in China because it's very sensitive, the one China policy. So he's already behind that, and he said, well, he'll recognize the one China policy. Yeah. I think the Chinese were very keen to have this meeting because they see the world now pretty much as the G2,
yes.
United States and China. Mm-hmm. And China is a very assertive country. Some people would say revisionist power. And very keen to assert itself worldwide, economically.
Yep.
Well, one talks about geoeconomics a lot, but also politically through the UN, through peacekeeping forces, and through a new military base that is taking place, that is being built in Djibouti. So I think on Thursday, on Friday, what they'll be talking, they'll get to know each other obviously, but they'll also be talking about serious issues, and there are many of them. One of them is security. The Korean Peninsula
yes.
is, could face a very serious threat from the north, with Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea, threatening really to deploy its missiles towards the south. And as you know, the capital of South Korea is very close to the border, less than 40 miles. And secondly, the South China Sea is also a subject. I'm not sure how much time will be spent on it, but obviously China is reclaiming land and building a big presence there, and claim that these islands are part of its territory. I would say there's another topic that will be prominent is the economic fields, particularly trade. And Donald Trump has been blaming China for all kinds of things. Manipulating its currency, killing US jobs, and destroying the US industry. Yes. But I'm not sure how much leverage he has on this, because honestly, American companies don't want to have their business damaged by this, and China will retaliate.
Turning to Europe for a moment, I guess the UK and Europe, and how China views Europe, and what you see developing there.
China sees Europe as a market, primarily. And the 420 million consumers of Europe are what China sees. And as long as the EU stays together, with, of course, the exception of the UK, which I'll talk about in a moment, they are fine. They don't want Europe to get involved in the South China Sea or anything like that. I personally think that Europe should get involved in the South China Sea and other issues, because Europe is a power, maybe not as strong as the United States, but is in this multipolar world. Europe is there, and there is a lot of common ground between a number of European countries. Having said that, of course, the UK is a special case, with the state visit in October 2015 by Xi Jinping, and the fact, David Cameron and George Osborne claimed that there was going to be a special relationship,
a golden age.
Golden age. Okay. Now the problem is what does the UK have to offer to China? A trading place, a financial center in London, some potential investments in infrastructures. But at the same time, I mean, the access to the big consumer market I was referring to may not be there. And meanwhile, the Chinese don't like uncertainty. So for the next 2 years, there's a lot of uncertainty, and I'm sure there will be less interest from the Chinese investors to come to the UK. But they are also uncertain about the Western world in general, and China is basically interested in asserting its own influence in all parts of the world.
Sure. I know there are going to be a lot of questions later on, and I know that people will feel that the topic that you're addressing is hugely relevant, as I've said. I'd just like to conclude by thanking you again for coming. It's great that you're here, and a lot more to be discussed later on today. So thank you for coming.
Thank you, Roddy. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you.